Okay, John Burroughs again. I'm going to go on to chapter 31 of my autobiography, 7 Years to Life. This chapter is called Car 54, Where Are You? I wondered what was happening to me. I helped save a young girl from a life of degradation, stolen youth, and modern-day slavery. As I mentioned earlier that evening, will forever be ingrained in my memory because the feeling of helping someone turn a meaningless existence into a potential late fulfilling life always brings me to tears of joy to think I was able to be an important part of that fateful night. Yet it was not longer after that I was headed out to Pomponia Beach to hurt people whose only sin was that they moved to a new neighborhood. At the beginning of that night, I must admit that I was looking forward to the release of anger that fighting always seemed to provide. As you can derive from the previous story, I was thoroughly disappointed in myself. A week or so later, I went to the farmer's market at the mall. This was where most of my friends congregated when there was nothing pre-planned for the evening. We would discuss ideas of where to go and what to do, and depending on individual preference, the group would usually disband to go or do some of the things that had been suggested. Mike Kay, who I occasionally hung out with, thought it would be a good idea to go bowling. Mike was an exceptional bowler and I was an average bowler, and as it turned out, I was the only other person that thought it would be a welcome change to our usual boredom that resulted in looking for trouble. We all split up and I hopped into Mike's car and we drove to the bowling alley. We parked in the back of the building because there was a convenient rear entrance. We bowled 3 games, returned our shoes, paid the bill, and as we were putting our shoes on, we heard sirens and tires screeching just outside of the front of the bowling alley. Across the street from the alley, there was a big box store, similar, and apparently an armed robbery was taking place. We saw 2 cops exit their car, left it running with guns drawn, and made their way into the store. Did I mention earlier that we decided to go bowling for a night of little harmless fun? Well, I was wrong. The cop car was literally only about 25 yards away from Mike and I. We had a very brief discussion, and we decided that we would be legends if we were to successfully steal the cop car. We ran as fast as we could, hopped into the car, closed the doors, and entered the freeway that was a short distance away. We both began to get extremely nervous, and as Mike so aptly put it, we were definitely fucked if we got caught. We pulled off the very next exit and made our first right where we abandoned the car in front of a gate that protected a private stable. We were right across from a neighborhood where we had many friends. We pulled our jackets up over our heads and made our way to Colleen H's house. Luck was with us. We told her what we did and hung out there for 3 hours, figuring the heat would die down by then. There were a few news stories about this incident, but we were never questioned or suspected of the theft.